Welcome to the Dear Doc podcast, where we will discuss the business of running a dental practice with a panel of experts. Now, your host, Dr. Christopher Hoffpower. Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc podcast on all major platforms.
Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpower coming to you from my home studio here in Alvin, Texas. Thank you so much for joining us on the Dear Doc podcast. Today we're talking to not one, but two guests. One is Dr. Terry Alani, and the other just happens to be her son. Thanasi, you were introduced to me by your mother. She called me up and she said, my son just created the most amazing product, the most amazing company to help dentists out there. I hate credit card fees and it just drives me crazy. And I told him about it one day and he came by and he helped me. And tell me that story. How did you get to here? And what's your past? What is your history that led you to be able to fix her merchant card fee problems?
No, not a problem. Yeah, my name's Thanasi, so I'm Dr. Alani's son. So about a little over 6 months ago, kind of middle of last year, my mom, probably like any other doctor or dentist out there, was having issues with their merchant services and the fees they were charging. And, as I'm sure other people can attest to, every year it feels like more and more people are paying with credit cards. And so those fees can definitely add up. She had tried in the past to negotiate with the processors. Obviously her front office people had tried to negotiate as well. But, every time it really wasn't going anywhere, right? And as any other dentist knows, you're super busy dealing with your patients, insurance, all these other issues. You really don't have the time to be calling different payment processors to get lower rates, even though, as I'm sure everyone knows, these fees can add up to, thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a year in fees. Absolutely. And so what I did is I have a background in finance, worked in banking, worked on the investing side for about a decade now. And so pretty familiar with, different financial services and financial products. And so I said, hey, let me take a look at this and see if I can try and help. And so that was kind of the first world and the first entry into the wild world of payment processing. And it's a pretty crazy world with a lot of different companies promising a lot of different things. But what we did is, we spent about a month really figuring out how these guys are making money, what's negotiable, what's not negotiable, and ultimately what we think is a pretty optimal and easy process to help, everyday dentists who don't have the time to jump on the phone for, 2 hours a week to negotiate lower rates, to do it in a really simple fashion. And so that business is called Zilment. It's at www.zilment.com. Really, the idea was to kind of take what we learned and the different things that, we came across and provide it in an accessible way for everyday dentists and doctors to get access to the lowest, kind of credit card processing fees around. And so we've partnered with a handful of different companies, all very large, reputable companies that were all vetted by us. And we've pre-negotiated to offer these really attractive and good rates to dentists. And furthermore, we're typically able to get free equipment as well. So, any equipment you're looking for, whether it's a simple terminal or a complicated or more sophisticated piece of software, we're able to source all of it in a really curated and easy way.
So you guys actually can do the Clover and things like that as well.
Yeah, we can do the Clover. We can do everything. We've deliberately partnered with 4 really large processors for that very reason. Our experience was you'd have to call, instead of having to call 10 different providers and answer the same question every time and submit 10 different statements. It's really kind of a one-stop shop for all the different services out there. And furthermore, I think that the biggest value add is because we're able to offer these lower rates, it's also a great way to save money.
Absolutely. Well, let me go ahead and pull up something I pulled from your website. You can kind of talk us through this. This is a comparison of you versus other providers. let's talk to me a little bit about what it is that that this is covering, and just how do you guys stack up?
Yeah, so ultimately, there's a handful of different ways that payment processors price payment processing to dentists. There's things like flat rate processing, which is typically best for kind of smaller businesses. Think your everyday kind of coffee shop or small type of merchant doing less than maybe $5,000 a month in volume. For them, a flat rate fee typically offered by Square, or if you go to Clover's website directly, they'll offer you a flat rate fee. It might make sense because you're not doing a huge amount of volume, but for dentists, which are typically doing a lot more than $5,000 or $10,000 a month in credit card volume, it's really a suboptimal way to get merchant services. And so how we like to price dentists and the pricing, we offer any sort of pricing that you want. So if you wanted flat rate, you could be on flat rate. We typically advocate for what's known as kind of interchange plus pricing, because that is the cheapest for the business. And so, we've essentially, what we've done is we've negotiated these rates with these processors, and, we've gotten some pretty good features like no cancellation fees, no termination fees. We're able to offer Amex processing at the same rate as normal processing.
Oh, that's huge right there, man. Thanasi, I need you to come to my office and look at my stuff. That's amazing, because Amex is expensive to process.
Exactly. So, a lot of what we control is the markup to the actual, what's known as the interchange or the wholesale rate. A lot of, we saw a statement the other day where the doctor was paying a 3.8% fee, right? And we're able to reduce that fee to 1.5%. So it's a pretty huge difference. If you think about it, it's really like they have like a 2% royalty on your business. It's really crazy.
That's a really great way to think about it. I'm gonna ask real quick, Terry. So you were actually Thanasi's first customer. Talk to us a little bit about that experience. How quickly did it move? Obviously, you're somewhat biased. He's somehow related to you here, but
he's very smart. So I'll give him credit. It's the smart one in the family. But basically, I was very frustrated, and I've been trying to negotiate. Each year I try to negotiate. I call, it takes me hours on the phone. I honestly don't even know what the heck I'm asking. They have all of these different notations on your credit card statement, and I have no idea what it is. So I was speaking with my son. He's a finance guy. And I told him, I said, I'm just frustrated. He goes, why are you frustrated? I said, I'm done with these credit card processing rates. He goes, let me take a look at your statements. I go, what do you know? He goes, let me take a look. So he looked at him and he goes, you're paying too much. And I said, here, you can have them. And he said, I'm going to call. And he did it like that. He got my rates down. I was stunned. So I'm saving about $7,500 a year. That's a substantial savings.
It
and
really is.
I have referred him to all my friends, and basically 90% are using them. And the one thing about Thanasi's company is if he can't save you that money, he will let you know and keep you where you're at. I know there was one doctor that was only going to be a $200 savings a year. So they discussed it, and the doctor decided to stay on what he has. But most of the doctors that he has dealt with, it's a substantial savings. So that's how I got started with him, and this is how his company started. So I
think it's a pretty cool story. And Terry, I've known you for quite some time. Actually,
long time.
We met at a CE course for sleep apnea a long time ago. And,
we did.
Thanasi, she brought up a really great point. She's looking at these statements, and every credit card company seems to call them something different. All these fees, right? It's like they make up this language just to be confusing, and then they change the words on you. So talk to us a little bit about some things that our doctors might want to look at their statements for to see what they're getting charged, and some of those things that you may be able to help them bring down.
That's a great point. It's been really shocking for us to learn that there isn't more regulation or standardization when it comes to how these rates are disclosed. And we've seen some pretty crazy practices from different providers. I'll give you an example. We got a statement yesterday where on the sheet of paper, if you quickly glanced at it, they had something described as the processing rate, which is the markup to the wholesale cost. And there it wasn't a great rate, but it was pretty average, right? And so, those fees were $75 a month. However, if you went to the last page, they had, kind of hidden a $500 monthly fee, which was, they called it some sort of risk fee, which we had never seen before. And really, it's just another way for them. And they had it, the worst part about it is they had it described as like wholesale fees that they couldn't control, when it's 100% fees that they could control. And so they were just passing on, an extra, hey, here's another $500 fee a month that, you think that fee is, unavoidable, but it's completely avoidable, right?
I was going to say something. The thing is, Doc, is as dentists, we're dealing with our patients and taking care of them. And honestly, I don't have time for the processing. So I had no idea what was going on. I mean, we just really don't know. As far as we know, we're just dealing with the blind. So it is really important for dentists to actually participate in trying to get their credit card processing fees lower, because I did it and they can do it too.
Well, that is a great segue. So remember, I told you I pulled two things off of your website. This is the other one. So talk to us a little bit about how a doctor can get a free savings analysis. And is it really free, or does it have a $500 risk charge?
No, it's completely free. So one of the benefits that we try to give to dentists is what's known as a savings analysis. And, I'll be honest, all the credit card processors try to provide a savings analysis. I think we've taken a little bit different of approach in that we don't just provide a table, we provide a lot more detail. So, if you want to take that and negotiate with your existing processor, or if you just want to learn more about where your money is going, we're happy to do that. And so what you do is, all you have to do is, we have a website, we have a quick, 30-second questionnaire where you submit a statement. And from there, typically within a few hours or by the next day, we're able to kind of put together a presentation, really 2 or 3 important slides that really tell you, hey, this is what you should be paying, this is what you shouldn't be paying. And you can kind of you can either, we've sourced a bunch of great rates that we'll put in front of you if you want to switch, or if you're happy with the current rate and the savings aren't that great, it's just more information for you to have.
Well, folks, if you want to know more about what Zilment and Thanasi can do for you specifically, I want you to go ahead and take a look at their website. As he said, it's Zilment.com. All you have to do is go right on here to this nice little button, click and say, I want to know more. And then you're going to get contacted. You fill out a small form. I took a look at it earlier. Is there anything else that they should know about what you're doing here?
I've got something to say. So some of my friends that I referred, they go, well, how can he get his rate so low? How does he make money? So I think that's an important thing to discuss.
Absolutely. So then ask, how do you make money?
Of course, and that's a great question. So we're like any other kind of marketplace or agent-based marketplace. So, you can think of us as pretty similar to maybe an Expedia or, an e-insurance website. The way we make money is we get paid a commission whenever we place a business or a merchant with a certain processor. So the processors are paying us a commission for bringing them new customers. And kind of the way we've aligned interest is, we only get paid if you stay on that if you stay on that processor, right? And so what we've done is we've taken the view that by giving you access to these great rates, hopefully you're going to stay for a long time. And so that's kind of how we get paid. There's no fees to the business. We've actually negotiated to actually get rid of a lot of the fees that a lot of other processors have to pass on. And so, yeah, it's a great way for doctors to easily and freely save a lot of money.
That's fantastic. So Thanasi, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, and I think that our viewers would be really interested in, is I actually posted one of your articles on the business of dentistry not that long ago, and it had to do something with Terry, take a deep breath, because I know how you feel about this.
Yes.
credit cards that insurance companies are trying to pay doctors with. Now, before we get into it, I'm going to let Terry just go off because she's entertaining as hell whenever she talks about insurance companies or credit card processors. So Terry, how do you feel about this? Can you tell us how you really feel?
It is the biggest ripoff of all time. And this is the interesting part. I had no idea that some of these insurance companies were paying me for reimbursement with virtual credit cards until, the dentist has to get involved. A lot of dentists have no clue these dental reimbursements. They're not seeing it because the front
they don't
desk
see anything.
the other person, one of your great staff members, are the ones that put the payments in. But for some reason, I just happened to see one, and I pretty much lost it. And I called the insurance company, and dentists don't realize this, but the insurance companies are actually taking a processing fee. So you are not getting your total reimbursement. It's like a credit card.
It's awful.
It's ridiculous. So according to, I think you advised me, as well as Diane Rhodes of Texas Dental Association, told me that is actually, we can do something about it and we can refuse them. So what we have done is every time we get one, we call the insurance company and let them know that we are not accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to pay us with a check. There are so many doctors that have no clue this is going on. And Thanasi actually wrote an article that's going to be in Dental Economics. And I was very proud of him. I couldn't believe he was even capable of knowing this about dentistry. So Thanasi, take it away, because it was a very interesting article. And my thing here is just to let dentists know you have to be getting involved in what is going on in your practice.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
So Thanasi, tell us a little bit about the article.
Yeah, so we posted an article that addresses, obviously a major issue, which I'm sure there's no love lost between dentists and insurance providers. But this is just another way for insurance providers to really kind of double dip. Not only are they probably paying you a lower negotiated rate, but they're also, taking a percentage of the processing fee, which maybe a lot of people don't know is, the credit card company is getting a processing fee, but the insurance company is incentivized to pay with the credit card because they're getting a kickback from the credit card company. And so we wrote an article that really lays out kind of what dentists and other medical providers have in terms of rights as it relates to payment. So, all doctors and dentists should know that they have the right to get paid however they want to get paid. And so there are other methods, check is one method, something called ACH, which is basically an e-check, is another method. And the savings, basically you're going from taking a 3% haircut on your payment to paying, 35 cents or $1. So it's a huge difference. We also posted some helpful hints in terms of, because when you call the insurance company, they're going to dispute it and they're going to, they're not going to play nice, right? And so we wrote some helpful hints about how to deal with the insurance companies, as well as provided a sample letter that you can, write to that you can send to the insurance provider that really lays out your rights and such.
And Thanasi, where can they find this? Is this on your blog? I know I was checking that out earlier on your website.
Yeah, it's on our blog. I believe the title of the blog is, you're probably being overcharged for insurance payments or something along those lines. But it's one of our blog posts talking about how the insurance companies are really just asking you to pay to get paid.
Yeah, it's a shameful condition. It truly is.
Doc, we got to take back our profession.
I would say so. Part of that is not being held hostage, and not being held hostage. And this is something you and I have talked about before. To me, that means knowing everyone's job, knowing what they're doing in your name, in your practice, because other than just things that might endanger your license, they endanger your livelihood. Because
exactly,
if they're losing money for you like this, then you're not going to be able to retire. I mean, $100,000 in a year.
I'm not retiring.
I just can't even wrap my mind around that.
I'm not retiring anyway.
Well, you're still 30 years away from retirement age. Don't worry about it.
But I just think I love, let me just say something. I absolutely love the business of dentistry.
Well,
it has helped me so much in so many ways. I refer to it almost every day. I have learned a lot. So I really want to congratulate you on what you've done for our profession.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a labor of love. And honestly, I hate the phrase "it takes a village," but in this case, it truly does. I think our members deserve most, if not all, of the credit. Well, guys, you've wasted another 45 minutes of your life listening to the sound of my voice drone on, but at least you got to hear Terry this time too. So
Yeah, right.
thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again in the next episode. So, Thanasis, if you had your elevator pitch to every single dentist in the United States, what would you tell them?
That's a great question. I would tell them, obviously, look, doctors and dentists are focused on doing what they do best, which is providing care to their patients. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways that people are maybe taking advantages of it too strong of a word, but a lot of ways that people are passing on fees, unnecessary fees that can be completely avoided, that add up to real dollars in savings. For example, this is our record, but we've had one doctor that had $100,000 in extra fees a year.
Wow.
We typically see on average about $10,000 a year in savings. And, I think most people, their hesitation is, hey, is this going to interrupt my business? Is there going to be a lot of, pain in the process? We've really focused on making it as simple as filling out an application, the equipment ships to your office, you plug in the new equipment, and literally you're saving $10,000 a year. So it's really simple. It sounds painful, but we've taken a lot of the pain out of it. And so it's just another great way to add more money to your bottom line.
Fantastic. Terry, would you like to have any closing words here?
Yeah, I was going to say the only two things I dislike in dentistry are credit card processing fees and Delta Dental. So those are my two pet peeves in dentistry. And I got rid of one, and now I'm going to deal with the other one. But it's not just because Thanasi's my son. He was very fair, very honest, and he doesn't, there's no charge to us. So who doesn't want to save money? It just makes no sense not to check it out. That's all I'm going to say.
I completely agree. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. And I'm really interested to see exactly how well this runs in the group, how many people sign up. So do me a favor, let me know what kind of contact you get. And if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to put the link for people to get a free assessment directly under this video. And we'll run it in the group for like a month, just to make sure you guys get some traction.
That's awesome.
All right, fantastic.
Happy to help.
Well, goodbye, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Well, guys, you've wasted another 45 minutes of your life listening to the sound of me drone on. I hope you enjoyed today's program, and I hope you go ahead and you give Zilment a call. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc podcast on all major platforms.